Hi, everybody. Welcome to the Female Disruptors second annual virtual summit. The theme is unstoppable, and my name is Lisa Beyer. I'm the founder of Female Disruptors, and I'm going to do a quick intro to Cory Welsh, who I'm so excited to have her join for the first time, the Female Disruptors virtual summit on the speaker roster. So Cory's talk title is Leveraging LinkedIn to Tell Your Story. And two things, I'm very excited that Cory is, from LinkedIn, and she's talking about LinkedIn, and LinkedIn is so critical. So just a little bit of background on Cory. So she is a connector at heart. She loves to inspire, and I've only known Cory for a short time, but so much inspiration vibes coming from you. She's a member of the global sales enablement team at LinkedIn. Her aim is to make her talent advisors the best consultants they can be to their customers, which is awesome. Also, she is, after consulting for HR professionals on how to maximize LinkedIn for their business, Cory switched to consulting, sales managers, and other consultants internally. Meanwhile, she became a casual career coach, helping others grow in their job, move abroad, and make a pivot. So Cory is also an advocate for gender equality and women leaders in the workplace, and she's an active leader of the Women at LinkedIn Employee Resource Group. Awesome, amazing, Cory. So welcome to Female Disruptors, and I am going to pass the baton on to you now.
Thank you, Lisa. I'm so honored that I get to have you as my moderator. So thank you for the very kind introduction. And I am so thrilled to be here with all of you because, like Lisa said, you might notice on LinkedIn that my title is one thing. I'm a global enablement lead, I'm an onboarder, I'm a trainer, but the truth is I am a connector. That's it. I started my career teaching people how to use technology. Little did I know, because I was not a tech expert, that I loved helping people find out how to do more with their technology, lead a richer life or a more creative life. And after I did a few of those years with hardware, teaching people how to use their devices, I moved to LinkedIn. And if any of you don't know what LinkedIn is for, other than finding a new job, LinkedIn is a professional network whose vision is really to create economic opportunity for everyone, every member of the global workforce, not just the corporate or the white collar workforce, but everyone. So today I'm going to share with you how I ended up not only teaching HR professionals how to use LinkedIn to find great talent and build diverse teams, but I then began inversing all of that knowledge to help people like you, whether you're a job seeker or you're looking to switch industries, or you're a female disruptor who wants to change the way that your industry runs or the way your company has been built and led. And finally, keep in mind, I'm actually very honored to meet anyone on this session, but I also want to give away a few free consults. So I'm going to choose 5 people at random who attended this talk and happily able to offer a free LinkedIn profile consult at the end of these 20, maybe 15 minutes. So I'm going to share my screen because I have 3 key questions that I want to challenge all of you to answer by the end of this talk. So these 3 questions are going to be what you have to know and you have to be able to answer in order to maximize the LinkedIn network. And question 1 is, why are you on LinkedIn? Why did you join this session? Is it because you want to help job seekers like me? Is it because you want to help students flourish? I know many of you on this call want to leverage your expertise or maybe your tools and resources to help people be more effective on social media or public relations. I know someone like Lisa loves amplifying other women's voices, and that's why I'm so lucky to be here today. Second question we're going to move on to is who? Who are you uniquely positioned to help? And who do you want to learn from? That is how you know where to amplify and extend and grow your network. And then finally, we will close with, what unique wisdom do you bring? What are the unique perspectives that you can share, whether that's experiences, skills, knowledge, etc. So part 1, it starts with why. And a previous speaker, actually, Frumi Rachel Barr, on her session today said, that's why Apple's been so successful, is because they started with why. And by the way, their why is because they wanted to disrupt the way people bought and experienced technology. So why are you on LinkedIn? Now, once you know that answer, I'm just going to move right ahead. This is going to help you tell your story on your profile. So it begins with your LinkedIn profile. 5 steps is all it takes. I know people can find the profile daunting, but what I want you to do, forgive me, as I want to leave you lots of tips today, is first add an updated profile photo. So I'm having a technical issue over here, speaking of maximizing technology, but what I want you all to know is that profiles get more views if you have an updated high quality photo. Make it warm and welcoming. Make sure you have a smile. Also, make sure that your photo is up to date and you're sharing an authentic version of you. Step 2 is record your name using our new pronunciation feature. So you can actually record a 10-second clip of your name, and this allows real color and voice to be added to your profile, sets it apart from a CV, and it helps someone like me or Lisa know how to pronounce your name when we first meet. Okay, after you've added, obviously, your identity, your profile photo, it's time to level up, and you can actually now add what's called a cover story. This is a video that introduces who you are in 30 seconds instead of just a picture. Now, this one can be intimidating, so I've shared an example of what mine looks like. I recorded it in my home office space. It's very cash, and it really lets you say in 1, maybe 2 sentences who you are and why people should care. So mine says something along the lines of what Lisa said. I'm a social butterfly turned social butterfly, and I love helping people who want to advance their career, move abroad like I did, or switch industries. So let's talk LinkedIn. Now, I love to share this one as this is something that's going to help your profile stand out because it's an early adoption feature for creators. So be brave and make a video. Now, next step is your headline. Your headline is the feature that defaults to your job title or your most current experience. So I want you to customize that because you have flexibility. And if you look at an example of what mine is you can add some flair. You can tell people what it is you do rather than just what your title is. So for example, I'm a casual career coach, like Lisa said. I'm a former expat. So anyone who wants to move abroad or is thinking about moving back to America from living overseas, I want them to know that I am happy to connect with them. This is where, again, you bring your personal voice. So I always recommend using first person in the headline and inserting an action word, if at all possible. Action verbs are key. All right. The last step after you've updated your headline is naturally your summary. This is the About Me section on LinkedIn that people see first because 50% of traffic to LinkedIn is on mobile device and people aren't going to scroll down to all the details. So how do you catch their attention in the first few sentences? This is where you don't want to repeat what's on your resume or in your description. You want to use that narrative voice to show people your writing skills as well and tell people, as a former Apple employee and as a tech geek who's constantly learning, I love helping people get more out of their technology. This way people know what they can get from connecting with me and what's the common thread running through all of my various career internships from PR to event planning and now to corporate training. All right, so I will leave you with this. Your work experience is where you can obviously add color, you can add media and links that describe basically the portfolio of your work. But remember that your work experience is not linear. So if any of you have ever seen this kind of viral graphic right now, I've created an example of what my resume looks like visually in a linear fashion. Guess what? My actual career path has included a lot of hills and a lot of valleys. So this is a template that I got from my colleague who works for this consulting company called the Institute of Life. Could not recommend it more. Create your own story and realize that people want to know your vulnerable journey, the ups and the downs, not just the great titles. We're going to come back to this later and how this created a viral post that got the most impressions on my LinkedIn ever. Topic number 2 is who. Who are you here to reach and who can you benefit from and learn from as you grow your network? Maybe your goal is to reach 10,000 followers. Maybe your goal is to sign 5 new clients in January of 2023. You have to know your audience before you can really maximize the power of LinkedIn. So the way that I recommend growing and kind of helping your network multiply for you is by first turning on creator mode. So creator mode is a new feature on LinkedIn that allows people to follow you instead of just connect when they don't know you. It's what allows you to reach a larger audience when you start using your voice and posting on LinkedIn. But one of the benefits of this is it also features your posts at the top of your profile. So it's just simply going to get you more visibility and thus more connections. So if you haven't already noticed, my background has a QR code that you all can scan if you want to connect with me on LinkedIn. This will take you straight to my profile. And I would be honored if you all would connect with or follow me. Maybe I can share future tips and we can do a LinkedIn profile consult if you're ever interested. Okay, step 2. My favorite place where I've found some of the most meaningful connections in my career pivots has been my alumni base. So if you went to any university, community college, trade school, LinkedIn has over 60,000 schools identified on the LinkedIn.com platform. So here, when you go to your own university's organization page, you can obviously see here, I have a long list of connections who actually work for the university. Now, many of them are former students like myself. This will let you join an alumni group. You could share job opportunities or consulting gigs or post that you're seeking freelance opportunities. This is a very underutilized platform, so highly recommend using the alumni tool. And a quick example of how I used it was when I was moving abroad, and I mentioned to some of you that I moved from California to Sydney, Australia. I went ahead and I searched how many USC alums are in Sydney. I found not just hundreds, thousands, and I was able to go ahead and at this time narrow it down to 370 alumni who lived in Sydney proper. I found an alumni group, and I found a friend with whom I ran a 10K my first weekend ever living in Australia, where I knew absolutely no one before I leveraged LinkedIn to find out who I did. So after the alumni tool, and I know I'm talking fast because there's so many tips, I could fit 100 tips if Lisa gave me 2 hours, is to follow the people that you admire. So this includes influencers like brand leaders. Sarah Blakely, who sadly I've never had the chance to meet, has some amazing motivational quotes every Monday morning with her classic coffee mug of the day. Then go ahead and follow any company that you ever have worked with, want to work for, or want to consult. Even if it's a dream brand, follow Nike, follow Apple. Because I recently found out that I might have an opportunity to consult with a Nike executive. I want to make sure I'm following them, reading their content and their posts, so you can follow trends of what these organizations are caring about right now. After influencers and companies, you also want to join groups. Now, groups are also underutilized on LinkedIn. However, the great news is we've improved the experience. So I'm in a professional interest group for my field. I'm in sales enablement. So even though I don't live in San Francisco anymore, I'm a part of the Women in Sales Enablement Leadership community. And I love here where I see a former coworker who now runs and moderates this group. I see opportunities. I see think tanks and meetings. They're actually having a meeting today, which is why I pointed it out. How fitting that I saw this update on the perfect day for finding inspiration with more colleagues and connections. So could not recommend more. If you take away 2 steps that you're going to take after this, join a group of one of the communities that you care about. I think my biggest goal today is to get Lisa convinced that we should form a female disruptors community on LinkedIn. Why don't we already have a LinkedIn group? Okay, it's happening. She's clapping.
Definitely.
All right, so I've given you a lot of tips, but the takeaway is think about your audience on LinkedIn and take the effort to connect with that audience. So whether it's sending out connection requests, following those people that you look up to and want to work with, that's going to help you build what we call at LinkedIn meaningful conversations. Our goal at LinkedIn is not just to have members join. We right now have 875 million members on LinkedIn. Our intention with our vision of creating economic opportunity is to create meaningful dialogue that helps professionals be more productive and more successful. So question number 3, and this is one of my favorite to ponder, is what unique wisdom could you bring to your LinkedIn network, to your peers? Everyone who is speaking as a part of Female Disruptors is here because we feel like we have a small piece of knowledge or expertise that we could offer to the world. If you're joining Female Disruptors, I know you are one, and that means you have something to say and something to offer. So step 3, when you answer that question, is going to help you amplify your voice on LinkedIn. And I'm going to show you a few methods to actually sharing those gifts. Now, there are, again, countless ways I could tell you how to do this. There's probably 20, but I'm going to give you the top 5 methods, and then I'm going to give you the top 5 pieces of advice from LinkedIn and our executive engagement team. Step 1 is contribute to your network with status updates. Now, a lot of people have mixed feelings about what to say. They don't think they have anything unique or interesting. But again, there are so many things that can help your colleagues or your contributors feel great about themselves, learn, participate in a survey or a poll. So LinkedIn has made it really easy for you. by giving you prompts. Do you want to celebrate an occasion? For example, I might say, hey, kudos and congrats to Lisa for completing your second annual digital summit of female disruptors. I know you're going to be so proud by tomorrow evening when you're kicking back on the couch. I also might want to say, hey, I'm actually hiring. I have the opportunity to hire an intern. And so I'm going to post about it using the share that you're hiring feature. Now, there are a few other ways that we try to make it easy, but also fun. Another way that you can post, this is one of my more high engagement posts of the last 3 months, is you can use images. So graphic images and going beyond the text is obviously a way to drive much higher engagement. This was a recent trip I took to San Francisco where we have our LinkedIn headquarters. And I posted not only to acknowledge and thank my colleagues who met up with me and had lunch, all 3 of these colleagues, by the way, I never see throughout the year, but it also showed people in my network that I was in San Francisco that week. So it was a great way for people, including my boss's boss, to reach out to me and say, hey, I see you're in town, enjoy the office. And I've gone ahead and I've offered a cool perspective for people who want to know what our office looks like, but I've also kind of gleaned the benefit of seeing my peers get recognized and my director know that I'm in town. This is a great way to also drive clientele and interest, right? By posting and showcasing what you're doing. I'm sure many of you are doing this already. All right, step 2 is, in addition to posting updates, you can form what we call at LinkedIn now, long form articles. You can write an article by starting again on that homepage, and on the far right corner, you'll see the new capability of writing a post. That's more like 1,000 to 3,000 words rather than a post that should probably be limited to 100 to 300 words. So I have an example here of where once you've started on the homepage, you'll start to see all sorts of content kind of formulate, including a few long form articles I've written. So on the bottom left, you'll see an example of a kudos post that you could send someone to say congrats. You'll also see the example here of a poll. Polls are brand new and they're getting more utilized every week over week at LinkedIn, where we just asked people, what is it that is interesting to you right now? For example, I'm thinking about posting next week a poll that says, would you rather read my advice over a photo image post or a video post? Because I've been experimenting with a video. And so I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to see what my network has to say. It can help inform my future content strategy. Speaking of that, if you're a little shy and hesitant to use video, the third type of media I wanted to show up is we have a new ad type called carousel. So trying a carousel post sounds pretty straightforward, but basically is just a series of multiple images that allow you to customize multiple graphics to include key points. This is a way to create something dynamic without having to record a high quality video. And it kind of helps you showcase that you have multiple points of expertise. So I experimented recently with a carousel. Now, this is my recent long form article that actually got the most engagement of any of my long form posts on LinkedIn. So I have about 5,000 views, 50 comments so far, but my goal here was not just to showcase and brag again about what I'm doing. It was actually because I really wanted to tell people what helped me prepare. I recently spoke at an event for our company at our internal sales conference, and we had about 600, 700 registrants. So I was terrified. I prepared for months, and I decided to include 10 tips for how to prepare for a live speaking event, because many of us haven't been speaking in person in several years due to the pandemic. So I included all the things that I learned throughout that process, what I think I could have done better. And again, people, I think, enjoy that vulnerability. Doesn't have to be perfect. Your expertise does not have to be crystal every moment. So here are a few of my other posts that have gotten a lot more comments and traction over the years. If you need inspiration, again, message me. I would love to read an article that you publish or a post that you make. So remember that graphic illustration I said we would come back to? This was my post with the most impressions, almost 30,000. And I only have 9,000, I believe, followers and connections on my profile. So remember, it's about the vulnerability. Be brave. Use courage to post something that you want advice on or you're feeling insecure about. And I guarantee you it will drive engagement, people who want to connect with you and people who will trust you. And, look to your credibility, whether it's because they need a new consultant, they need a future speaker, or they might even have a full-time job opportunity. All right, so I'm so thrilled to see so many amazing people just on this session. I want to make sure me and Lisa leave time for questions, and we're going to moderate the chat, so bear with us. But I'm going to close with the 5 remaining tips I promised, which is how to make sure you are amplifying your voice, how LinkedIn thinks works best. And these were designed for executive influencers. Talk about the things that matter. Don't force it. 2, make sure that you're being authentic with your comments. Always reply to the people who do add to that discussion if you ask a question. And then make sure that you're using video in any way if you want to drive real engagement. It doesn't have to be your own video, but maybe you want to experiment with YouTube. This morning, I saw an amazing session on deleting ageism, and our awesome expert shared a video from the AARP that brought tears to my eyes. So I'm going to be sharing that video with her permission to forward it on and just drive a little bit of inspiration. We say at LinkedIn that content in video versus photo, copy, or text gets 20 times more engagement. So that's why you'll notice me now that you're following me or connected. I've been experimenting with more video. Sometimes I post it on Instagram and LinkedIn. So mobile first is okay, portrait or landscape. But whatever you do, make sure you keep in mind LinkedIn now has auto-generated captions so that those videos are inclusive. And I could not be more thrilled that I now don't have to use a third-party app to generate captions on my videos. All right, so I've left you a million tips. Keep it to 30 seconds to 3 minutes. And finally, make sure you're starting that dialogue so we can have those meaningful conversations. It's all about thinking about your audience and remember your why. And lastly, watching what works, monitor your engagement and experiment with things. I can't wait to see what those experiments are now that we're connected. I really encourage you all to be brave, like I said. So thank you, and keep the conversation going. If you want to be one of those lucky 5 who I have a profile consult with, me and Lisa are going to pick those 5 at random. So send me some emojis in the chat if you want it to be you.
Awesome. Oh, Cory, this was so insightful. And please, we have a few minutes for questions for Cory, but I'm going to start out with one kind of observation. So I don't know, I guess I'm not inside LinkedIn, but I would consider myself somewhat of a LinkedIn analyst when it comes to PR and social media and like making sure that brands, personal and business, get the most out of LinkedIn. And one of the things that I always like to share, and I'd love your, chiming in on this, is optimization. So what I see is that when I say optimization, they're not utilizing all of the features that LinkedIn offers and filling out all the fields and maximizing with keywords and making sure that, looking at LinkedIn as a search engine also, that if somebody is searching for something, you want to get found. If you're a real estate attorney, you want to make sure those keywords, real estate attorney, are sprinkled throughout your profile. So what other tips, until we have questions, please put your questions in the chat. What other tips on optimization do you see from the inside out?
Oh, great question. So first and foremost, I'm not a data scientist. I cannot speak to exactly what the algorithm, produces from your profile. But the first thing that I will point out and emphasize is the topics I just shared, like the kind of the subtopics of tips, should happen in order. So first of all, it starts with having a really complete profile and filling out every single field with not only graphics or media wherever you can, because the more images and graphics you have on your profile, the higher up you're going to come in search results. If someone looks for a real estate agent, like you said, and they have 2 real estate profiles, they're going to see the one that's more complete. So your first goal of 2023 should be making sure you've filled out all the fields, whether that's your work experience. We have a section for volunteer experience, a section for hobbies and interests. Make sure your profile is complete before you start putting in the work to become a creator and connecting with people. Secondly, I think keywords are not anything to overlook, Lisa. So for example, in your summary, a lot of people ask me about the about section and, how long should it be? Or should I use first person or third person? I think that is a place where you want to use the keywords that are most important to what you want to be known for, what you want to be found for. So a lot of people then will overuse that advice and turn it into a 500-word bulleted list of every type of skill and project they can use. I definitely do not recommend that. Where I think you actually become more optimal for especially mobile traffic is short and sweet, keeping it from 1 to 5 sentences in your summary of how people can work with you, but making sure you have those keywords of what it is that you do specialize in sprinkled throughout your work experience, your job titles. If you look back and you have a few job titles in your early career that just don't really fit anymore, it's okay to use some creative license to articulate what it is you did. So for example, in my first job at Apple, I was a leadership program associate, but really what I ended up doing all day was consulting people on their hardware. So I should consider including that as a consultant and tech coach. So I love that idea of like using layman's terms to describe what it is you actually do rather than over indexing on industry terms.
I love that. Well, we are about out of time. So should we pick, do you want to pick the winners from the chat, or do you want to divide and conquer and randomly pick?
Yeah, so let's randomly divide and conquer. I'll pick 3 and then Lisa will pick our remaining 2.
Okay.
So when I go to my participant list, everyone, I'm just going to kind of randomly scroll up and down. We have 17 of you on today, and some of you I happen to know from my LinkedIn network. So if I just go down the list, I'm going to go Chloe Lopez, Lisa Lucas, and Samantha Goldstein. Those are the 3 kind of random that I picked. Lisa, do you have 2 others?
Elizabeth and Marlene.
Ooh.
So yay. Okay.
And go ahead and write those down for me, Lisa, because
Yes.
I missed like a second of audio.
Yes.
And we'll go ahead and we'll reach out to you, amazing attendees. Thank you for joining my session. Again, I'm honored. And thanks to those who have joined my Instagram live. Thank you for just everyone who's here to support Lisa, because I know you're a female disruptor or you're an ally who wants to help females disrupt how we do work.
Yes, definitely. And we will look forward to creating that LinkedIn group for female disruptors. So
Can't wait.
Yes. Thank
All
you.
right. Thanks, Lisa.
Thanks, everybody. Bye, Cory.